Hey guys, Ian here. Welcome back to White Pine Living and welcome to episode 3 of Gun Talk with Mike. This time we've got a special guest, Mr. Anthony Barber, who is apparently pretty high up there on the gun guru chain of command as far as Mike is concerned. And we don't have a huge agenda today other than to just talk about cool gun stuff, I guess, right?
Awesome.
Before we get started, maybe you can tell everybody like what you do.
My name is Anthony Barber. I run AG Services LLC here in White Pine County.
What is that?
AG Services LLC was my, just basically my concoction because I like doing firearms instruction.
Cool.
I also like messing with locks.
Cool.
So I've been doing rekeys and things for property management groups and
awesome.
different things like that. So that's kind of half the business, and that kind of fills in where I do when I don't do firearms instruction during the wintertime.
Awesome.
Because, we don't like to go out and play in the snow. I'm not,
It's not my favorite thing to do. Mike, however, drags me out there from time to time and we'll freeze to death. And
Gun's still going to work and your feet won't freeze off.
Right.
Yeah. I play golf a lot. I enjoy it, but I don't go out unless it's 70 degrees. If I can't be out there barefoot, I'm not going. Period.
But what's the fun of living in White Pine County?
Well, I'm not sure why I live here.
Time right
where
here,
there's
Mike.
zero sun. Oh man. So you firearms instruction. So do you do certifications for CCW?
Yeah, I can do. I'm an NRA instructor for basic instructor for rifle and pistol. Also, range safety officer for the NRA. I was an affiliate instructor for United States Concealed Carry Association, but they're kind of changing what they're going on. So unless I want to go see Guy down in Arizona for a while and go get some more training from him, I'm like, okay, but I like their material. That's the material I use in my class right now. It's from the United States Concealed Carry Association. It's really good material, very thorough. So
that's all.
It's good stuff. I mean, it's something that, if you want to carry in White Pine County or in the States, that we can carry in, which is now kind of dwindling back and forth.
Shrinking.
Well, no, actually we're going forward. I mean, it depends. I know a lot of people get into, what can I have? Can I have Utahs and can I get this? I sat there last night, played around with it. Yeah, Utah and Nevada are two good concealed permits to have, even their Utah's non-resident permit. So it's something to think about. It really is. So.
That's cool, man. So I will actually make sure we got some contact info for Anthony. So if you guys are interested in getting in touch with him for either you locked your keys in the car or...
Well, no, I don't do automobiles.
Not automobiles. Okay.
Automobiles.
Or you locked yourself out of the house at least. And you can, and maybe you want to start concealed carrying. That's cool. So since we're talking about, different states and the ebb and flow of what we're allowed to do, well, let's talk about Senate Bill 254. What's going on with that?
Oh, yeah. It was something that that my wife saw on Facebook the other night, and I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, they want to take our rights away. So it was
every redneck just locked and loaded.
Oh yeah.
What?
So they want to give we have what we have over in Washoe County now in Clark. So they want to go back to revert to where the suspect or the perpetrator has the right to go into your home, and now they can sue you for him being in your home. So let's say like the favorite one of all, like the one guy that got up on the roof and he was going to burglarize that one house, and then he fell through the skylight and he blamed it on the homeowner and said it was unsafe. Or the gentleman that, cut his hand on a knife inside the kitchen and he's trying to rob the place. But hopefully, as I was looking on today, I got on the website, on the legislator's website. I'm hoping that it got squashed today just by reading it. It got at the end comments. I don't speak legislator. I got to call somebody on that. But it basically said, that due to this, that it's not going forward. So I'm hoping it is. So because of something, you have to do something.
Of course, that's what they said about the education initiative. And then, you know what happened with that.
Yeah. So there's a way around this, though. And that's a lot of people, a lot of voters in the U.S. in general don't know, but we have state representatives, right? Yep. And when voters call them and say, I swear on my grandmother's grave that if you pass this bill, bad things will happen to you. Like no one ever voting for you again. And, we'll send you dead chickens and horses' heads and stuff. I don't know, something.
Wow, Mike. See, Mike's a little bit more brave than I am. I'm gonna keep it kind of PG. So.
Oh man.
But it's stuff to think about. Things, they want to change things, and hopefully they don't. Hopefully we got we got some good people in the Senate and from our rural areas, and hopefully it doesn't go through.
Now I don't know what's going to happen when it comes to like legal stuff and what they can and can't sue you for. It gets sketchier. But I was at least thankful that even though we passed the dumb law this last election, I have a lot of friends in law enforcement, and most of them are going, I don't care what got passed, we're not going to enforce that. So
and what happened with all that was looking at the government side of it. And if you go online, and I love going on the legislature's website, I love going on the state Department of Public Safety's website. There's so much information on there right now. And basically it was a letter trail starting with the feds, the Department of Public Safety, back to another state agency, I'm trying to remember, the Secretary of State, and then back to the Department of Public Safety, basically saying the feds we're not going to do background checks for private citizens.
Yeah.
Then the DPS told that the Secretary say, okay, can this do it? Then they went to, it went to the Attorney General's office. So it went from Adam Blackslaw back up, and it just went up the food chain. And they basically said, we can't do this in the state of Nevada.
Yeah.
I believe the FBI's exact words were there was something along the lines of states do not get to dictate how federal resources are spent.
Oh, you actually did. I was kind of waiting. I was hoping whenever Mike says, I believe the FBI's exact words were, I was hoping for something more offensive or
no, it's pretty simple. They're very
cool.
We have
they are pretty cool.
We have a lot of professionals between the state and the federal agencies, and
the one saving grace that gun have is that anti-gun legislators are usually stupid and don't understand how to formulate like an actual like decent law 9 times out of 10. They're really good at screwing things up, which is helpful.
But kind of keeps things from passing, which is okay. So.
Mike, I'll throw this in here too, because did you go to send a letter to your senators and Congress people about the Hearing Protection Act?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll one up you on that.
Okay.
Because our representative in this part of Nevada changed. Right.
Oh.
We have a Democrat now.
Yes.
And I sent him a letter too. Mm-hmm. Our first guy, who was some Republican, he basically said, I know what HPA is. I'm all for it. It's great. And then the new guy said, I just got here 3 days ago. I don't know what this is. And just the other day, he sent me an email, and he basically said, I will keep this in consideration if this ever comes up for a vote, which basically means I'm going to vote no on this thing. It is how I interpret it.
That's cool. Now, okay, for the unknowing folks like myself, I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Oh, the Hearing Protection Act?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's say, that you go down to Sports World, and while you're buying your beautiful pistol you got with a threaded barrel, wouldn't it be nice to buy the suppressor with it?
Yeah.
Of course.
Who wants your gun to make noise?
Exactly.
I don't.
So that's the beauty of the Hearing Protection Act. They're trying to get away from these $200 transfer fee, all the paperwork and everything. So if you are legal to carry a firearm, in the United States, you can go down and you can buy your suppressor when you buy your firearm.
Oh, because you're technically supposed to get checked second if you're going to buy
Mike probably has more
suppressor.
information on that. I do.
So how you buy a suppressor is retarded in this country right now. And basically, let's say you go down to Sports World and you say, hey, do you guys sell suppressors? Their response is, we can't even touch these things. If they come into the building, they can get, or my understanding is they can get in trouble. Or at least, because they don't have...
I think most of us would think that's just an accessory.
It is
at least,
not.
Dummies like me,
Yeah.
I don't know any better. So
it's all right. So there's this terrible law, this really poorly written law that was that came into effect in the 30s or something called the National Firearms Act. National Firearms Act puts a bunch of extremely fun and useful types of firearms in a special category, and to get those firearms, and we're talking machine guns, short barrel rifles, suppressors, things like that, to get those guns, you have to submit a $200 tax stamp. You have to wait for someone in the NFA branch in the ATF to sign off on it and go, yep, and get you a stamp and send it back to you, and then you can own your stuff. And then Once you have your stuff, so let's say you go through all this, which means you have to go to a specially licensed dealer, which is not Sports World. That would be, I think we have one of them in town.
In town?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Okay.
he does it at his house.
Okay.
He does. He runs it out of his.
Is that your friend Tim?
No, that is
Okay.
not Tim.
Okay.
But anyway, first you have to get the suppressor to the dealer, or the dealer has to already have it. Then you have to fill out a Form 4, and then you have to send that in with your $200 made up to the U.S. Treasury, and that goes to the government. They sit there for 6 months, and it sits in a pile on a pallet somewhere. I'm not exaggerating. There's pallets of these things, right? And they oh, who's this guy? Yeah, he passes, right? And then they go through, and they're like, no, he didn't dot this T, and they'll send it back to you or whatever.
Oh, and lunch. Yes, let's do lunch.
Yeah, let's do lunch for 2 hours
No.
because, government efficiency. And then it comes back to your dealer, and your dealer says, everything is good to go. Come pick up your stuff. And you go pick up your stuff. If you're ever caught with your suppressor, like if cops ever see that and they check you out, it's not written into the law, but you really need to have a copy of your stamp, not the real one, with you at all times. Because my understanding, there's no way for them to they can't just make a phone call and be like, does this guy own the suppressor, right? So it's an extremely important thing, unless maybe the cops that hear more lax and they're just like, I just assume you own, it's fine. But also you can't cross state lines without getting permission from either the Attorney General or I believe the head of the ATF. And you do that. There's a special form you send in, and you say, sir, I would like to take this suppressor, which is legal in Nevada, to Utah, where it's still legal, that I legally own, and it will be from this date to this date. And if you don't get the response back in time before your trip or whatever, you're screwed. You're SOL.
I feel like I'm watching Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy right now.
It is great. So, so Class 3 stuff is wonderful. Oh, here's another thing. Let's say, because you can hunt in Nevada with suppressor. So let's say you're going to go hunting. You say, hey, Mike, can I borrow your suppressor? Not without committing a felony. You can't.
Oh,
It is not legal. If you do the trust route, say I have a trust and you're on my trust, that's different. But
Okay.
if it's in my name as an individual, I have to physically be present if it's outside of my safe, to the point where, and I don't know if anyone's ever gone down for this, but theoretically, if you have a suppressor in, say, a gun safe, and your wife has access to the gun safe, and you're not home, she's committing a felony. Because she's in possession of something she's not allowed to have possession of.
Sorry, I didn't mean to open this door.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No,
No,
this
you
is-
know what?
this is
This is seriously good stuff, because there's probably a lot of people like me that, I mean, I seriously just would have thought it's an accessory.
Yeah,
Cool.
you probably would have thought. Anyway,
Get a new
so
grip for my gun, whatever. Pull
Yeah.
a suppressor. Why not?
right.
I never bothered to get either, so I
Yeah.
This is actually useful information. So.
Yeah. Now, the HPA, getting back to that, the Hearing Protection Act takes suppressors off of the NFA and puts them under purview of NICS, right? And so what that does is suppressors are no longer defined in the NFA, which means no more tax stamp, no 6 month waiting time, whatever. But they're considered they would be considered firearms under this law, and would be subject to normal background check. Which in the state of Nevada is an instant $25 background check, unless you're smart enough to get a concealed carry license from Mr. Barber first, in which case you just walk in and say, that one, here's my CCW, my driver's license, write things down. All right, here you go, sir. And that's
That's awesome.
the way we should, in my personal opinion, that's the way we should sell everything. The whole 9 yards. There shouldn't be an NFA. It's idiotic and arcane. Also, side note, if you look at the $200 per tax stamp that goes into the federal government annually, and then you look at how much money it costs to run the NFA, it costs the government more to run the NFA than they take in getting stuff from the NFA. Think about this for a second. If this was a business, that would have been shut down decades ago. Wait, we're losing money to what? What?
Well, so to change the subject a little bit, we really appreciate you guys sending in questions, and between these two guys, we probably have an infinite knowledge of firearms, and it's kind of crazy. So, there's no. My grandfather likes to say all questions are valid, so I don't want you guys to feel stupid. We're not going to make fun of you, unless you should know better. But even I should know better, and Mike Mike is
No guarantees on
kind
my
to
end.
me. Mike is kind to me. So Yanni sent us a question, more like a suggestion of something he wanted you guys to cover. He wanted to talk about ported 9mm. He says that Performance Center MPs are ported as well as some Glocks. I've always wondered why, as muzzle flip is pretty much non-existent with target loads.
Yeah, I wonder the same thing. So for those of you that aren't in the know,
Yeah, I don't even know what he just said, so
Okay.
please
so
elaborate.
okay, so you're familiar with what normal handguns look like, right?
Yes.
Okay, so on the top of the slide, I want you to imagine you drill a couple holes through the slide all the way and then through the barrel as well. And the intent, so the intent is that as the bullet escapes, but before the gun begins to unlock, gases will shoot out, keeping the muzzle down as you shoot. Right?
Well, okay,
Now-
so that's like sort of like the Freedom Flag product
Yes.
we just tested.
Right. It's a
Okay.
similar idea, except that Freedom Flag,
Does it better?
the muzzle device actually makes sense.
Yes.
We're talking about handguns.
Like they
We're
actually
talking
know
about
what they're doing. Okay.
yeah, we're talking about something you might put on your hip and then pull out and fire. If you're a competitor, it makes a lot of sense, because if you're a competitor, that like 1/8 of an inch of muzzle rise in a full size 9mm can save you split seconds, which can win you a match, which can get you money. If you're a normal person, maybe who might actually use this gun for home defense or something, this makes absolutely no sense in my opinion. Because one, the full size 9mm, especially the Performance Center MP that he's talking about, if I remember right, has a 5-inch barrel. 5-inch 9mm does not have a whole heck of a lot of recoil. If you shoot a 5-inch 9mm and you're like, man, this gun has a lot of recoil, learn to shoot. I like legitimately learn to freaking shoot, man. Learn to hold the gun correctly. It shouldn't be a big deal. I don't care whether it's a 9mm 1911 or a full or the extended length Glock or whatever. It's got a 5-inch barrel. It's not going to have a lot of recoil.
What are you thinking?
Oh, I'm agreeing 100% on the CCW side. I'm thinking all I see is I'm pointing that weapon. I'm looking down range. You're using a home defense. You pull the trigger, and all of a sudden you have this beautiful bright muzzle flash. You just pick out your night vision inside your home. It doesn't have, like Mike said, it's for competition. It would be a great way to go. Yeah, there's a lot of different models across the board. Between Mike knows this from being gun salesman for many years, is like between Smith & Wesson, a Glock. Who else?
All of them, I think. Well, Springfield doesn't. I don't think they have a ported version, but they have a custom shop. You can make you one.
Yeah, all of them between the revolvers and the autoloaders. I mean, there's so many of them.
So this falls
the
in the
revolver
category of what we were talking about last time, which is there are lots of things that look potentially cool
Look very
and
cool.
are not functional.
Yeah, and it also falls into the category of people attempting to buy talent. Now, for those people who don't know, you can't actually buy talent. You have to earn that. I know. You have to actually take your weapon out and put bullets down range a lot. And then
You could have told me that before I spent all that money on the golf clubs.
I know. Yeah, you can't buy talent. You have to actually go out and do the thing.
I mean, you can't buy the freaking $3,000 Wilson Combat and go out and shoot and be a superstar.
Just be
that's
Rambo.
right.
Kill everything.
If your gun shoots half minute of aim, and it's amazing, but you're not a good enough shooter to shoot under 4 inches, you're never going to get to that point where you're shooting half in. And I've seen guys going back to my years at Sports World. I've watched guys spend ridiculous amounts of money, and we're talking in excess of $3,000-$4,000, and still not be able to hit their target. They're like, I don't know what's wrong. And then me or one of my coworkers would eventually go out and shoot with them, and hit everything we were shooting at. And we're like,
seems like everything's in order.
Buy some ammo, dude. Like seriously, just buy some ammo and shoot a lot. Or take some professional instruction or something. There, you go down the front sight, anything, right?
No, they take that basic handgun course. NRA does a great basic handgun course, goes over ammunition, grip, stance, sight picture, sight alignment, everything, and take that 8-hour class and get yourself well informed. And I think that's what people need to do. If you're going to carry a firearm, if you're going to conceal carry a firearm in the state of Nevada, even if you're going to open carry a firearm, I think, and this is my opinion, it is very important to get that training and take that time with your firearm. They're finding out that people, and I cover this in my class, is like, find out what pistol you're going to like, what holster you're going to like, and stick with it and practice with it.
Yeah.
So many people they're trying to go across 3 or 4 or 5 different platforms, and they're like, oh, I carry this and this day, that game. Well, great. Well, that's great and dandy. Yeah. You know, I was a big Glock fan for the longest time. I still am. Glock makes a very nice weapon for the amount of money you pay for it. But I stepped to the dark side and I bought myself a nice Sig Sauer Legion the other day, spent a new bird's money, spent a year of savings on it. Is it gorgeous? Yes. Is it beautiful? Crisp. It's good. It feels good in your hand. It doesn't feel like a Glock. It's got an alloy frame. It's got a steel slide. It's just night and day.
But if you don't know what you're doing with it.
But if you don't know what you're doing with it, if you don't think about where your placement of your pad of your finger is on the trigger, or realize that pistol has a wonderful trigger reset on it, or the decocker it before you put it back in the holster so you don't shoot your leg. Dude,
this is, I mean, these things aren't guitars. You know, so many people buy guitars and they're like, oh, you know, I might learn how to play it, I might not. But this is a firearm. This could kill you or someone else. And you probably should know really well what you're doing. Yeah,
realistically. And I do have not a lot, but quite a few years of martial arts in my belt. A firearm is the most efficient killing tool that a human being can physically hold and carry around. Like no ands, ifs, or buts. And having one and not knowing how to use it is worse. You may as well not have one. Just carry a knife, right? I mean, like, seriously.
No, that's true.
Which I think they just passed a law, if I'm not mistaken, that you can carry as big a knife as you want. Am I right about that?
I don't know that was ever a problem. I know that switchblades got legalized in Nevada.
Okay.
I want to say last year, maybe. Sometime last year.
I think I saw on TV at some point in New York, some guy like legitimately carries a katana on the subways.
Right. And well, that's New York. So, I mean, his ability to defend himself was something that he can fit in his pocket is non-existent.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if my understanding is in New York, if the knife is concealed, you're breaking the law. Same thing in California, right?
Yeah, I don't even remember where it might have been somewhere else.
They still go by blade length. I'm pretty sure if you go and you have to read the NRS.
Katana excessively,
it's just
kills whatever.
It's like if you start chopping a barrel on a shotgun, you're going to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's got certain lengths. So make sure you follow the laws.
That's cool, man. Well, hey, so I don't want to drag this out too long. I would love to have you back anytime you're want to come back.
I appreciate the opportunity, and this is great to sit down and talk about one of my passions. I love firearms. I love instructing people. I will leave my information with Ian, and he can steer you in the right direction. Another thing, if I could cover real quick, is that, and this is something that's cool because I've had to tell a lot of my people that they're 5 years on their CCW license, and remember, Nevada now has changed that law, so any firearm that you own in your arsenal, basically, and any firearm you futurely own will covered on your CCW permit. So you don't have to go out there like you used to do and bring out every single pistol that you owned you wanted to have on your CCW card. You don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to shoot just a revolver or an automatic.
So if I've got it, I've got it.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter what I'm concealing as long as I've got the license.
Exactly. Just carry what, pick a platform that you're comfortable with and get comfortable in that. And that's the carry it, and remember, your pistol is a last resort. That is, you're protecting life and limb. So, carry responsibly.
Right on. Thanks for watching, you guys. Please send us more questions, send us more topics. These guys love to talk. It'd be awesome. We will see you guys next time.